Hi everybody, welcome back to the Film Fan Club. Sam Carrico here with a brand new movie news dump for Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2018. This video will be a little bit different from previous movie news dumps. Previous ones were entirely scripted. This will be a little bit more laid back, and I'll take a little bit more time to try and just give my thoughts and dive into each topic a little bit more so than previously. So let's get to the first one. Last week it was reported that Game of Thrones creators David Benioff and D.B. Weiss were coming to the galaxy far, far away in writing and producing a new Star Wars series. According to StarWars.com, these new films will be separate from both the episodic Skywalker saga and the recently announced trilogy being developed by Rian Johnson, who was the guy behind Star Wars: The Last Jedi. David and Dan are some of the best storytellers working today, said Kathleen Kennedy. Their command of complex characters, depth of story, and richness of mythology will help break new ground and boldly push Star Wars in ways I find incredibly exciting. In summer of 1977, we traveled to a galaxy far, far away, and we've been dreaming of it ever since, Benioff and Weiss said in a joint statement. We are here honored by the opportunity, a little terrified by the responsibility, and so excited to get started as soon as the final season of Game of Thrones is finished. No release dates have been announced, and there are no release dates announced for the Rian Johnson movies either. So far, all we know as far as future Star Wars movies is Solo coming out this May, and then Star Wars Episode 9 coming out December of 2019. We really don't know what's coming in what order after that. We just kind of know who's working behind the scenes developing these projects. I don't really know what I want this new project to be. I don't really know how I feel about D.B. Weiss and David Benioff coming on board. Game of Thrones is something that I feel like a lot of the rich mythology and the storytelling comes from George R.R. Martin, and they were just kind of really good at shepherding his vision from the novels to the big screen, that without having some concrete source material to work with for a Star Wars film or a Star Wars film series, I'm really not sure what to expect, because again, everything that's Game of Thrones that's post the books, because they've gone past the books in the series now, everything that's been just left up to them to create as far as original storytelling for the characters, it hasn't really impressed me so far. I find seasons 5 and 7 to be among Game of Thrones' worst seasons, so I'm really not sure if they really have what it takes to do a new set of Star Wars films. But again, I'm really optimistic. I really like the fact that this probably lends credibility to the idea that we're going to be meeting new original Star Wars characters who we've never previously seen, or we're going to be diving into some rich parts of the galaxy that we've never seen as well, probably both. I'm really excited for what that means, but this could bring the question of, will there be too many Star Wars films, or will there be, because that means we're going to be having one Rian Johnson movie one year, and then one of these films another year, and then keep going like that, and then who knows even if they're going to be doing Boba Fett movies or what have you after that. Again, no release date has been set for any of these films after Episode 9, so we'll just be left guessing until then. Next up, we've got a lot of DC news, and first of that is Joaquin Phoenix is in talks for the Joker origin story movie. We previously talked about whenever they were developing that movie, Todd Phillips is going to be directing, Martin Scorsese is producing it. They were thinking even about maybe approaching Leonardo DiCaprio for the role. That's who the studio wanted. We kind of talked about that as well, but now it seems like they're going in the direction of Todd Phillips, at least, is going in the direction of wanting Joaquin Phoenix. And according to the report by, I believe it was Variety, Joaquin Phoenix is on board. It's just up to the studio now to find the right contract and put together the right official negotiations. So I'm interested in the Joker origin story. I wasn't very impressed by Jared Leto's portrayal of the Joker in Suicide Squad. At the time, I was kind of optimistic, but since I've revisited the film Suicide Squad. It just doesn't work well upon rewatching it. So I'm really open to a new interpretation of the Joker on the live action on the big screen. I think the DC universe is it would be okay if they kind of did stuff outside of their cinematic connected universe, because it really hasn't been a smash hit, it seems like, so far. And Martin Scorsese being the producer behind this, Joaquin Phoenix is a good, really good actor. Todd Phillips, I really liked his film War Dogs. I was talking about that with my grandfather just the other day. It was a really good kind of almost serious film with a lot of comedic overtones. So I mean, I think that's what this could be as well. There's a lot of good potential here. I mean, it's some of the better DC news from what we've got to talk about. Let's move on to the next thing. This is also kind of a follow-up to a story we talked about on the movie News Dump involving Zack Snyder's involvement with Justice League. We talked about his departure from the film mostly being due to a family tragedy, and which is really unfortunate, and we really our thoughts are with him, continuing to be with him in regards to that to this day. But there was a report that came out that he was actually fired by Warner Brothers prior to that, and the studio and the public relations team just kind of used that to just kind of mask the real reason for his departure, which means they didn't like what was happening with Justice League. They didn't like what happened with Batman vs. Superman. They were not liking his vision for the DC cinematic universe going forward, and they really wanted to change directions. So it's possible that Joss Whedon, he could have been brought in a little bit sooner than we thought, and all this could have been happening a lot sooner than we thought, which we kind of assumed was the case, but we didn't know the lengths to which this went. All this originates from a tweet by a Mashable writer who's kind of going into DGAF mode, and as he's leaving the industry and revealing what he previously wrote was kind of hinting at this all along. It's unfortunate the way that Justice League turned out. I reviewed it. I wasn't impressed with it. I thought it was an improvement over Batman vs. Superman, at least the theatrical cut, and definitely a huge improvement over Suicide Squad. But I don't really blame Zack Snyder for the downfall of Batman vs. Superman or Justice League. I really kind of blame the studio interfering and trying to make all these different things happen just along the way of a guy trying to make a film. I mean, I think he was originally going to make a Batman vs. Superman film. The studio wanted a Justice League prequel. Then he decided to make a Justice League film, but they're like, no, we need to change the tone and make it more of an Avengers movie. And he just kind of is trying to make this film along the way, and then everything that's bad that's happening is all blamed on him at the same time. So as this all has developed, I kind of feel a little bit bad for Zack Snyder. Again, I feel like if you just would have let him make his film, Batman vs. Superman and Justice League probably would have been a lot better for it, and we might not ever get to see his true vision for the DC Cinematic Universe or a Man of Steel sequel. And I still think Man of Steel is probably the best film in the DC Cinematic Universe to this day, and it was directed by Zack Snyder. Last item on the DC side of things is another director story. They're looking at somebody new to bring into their cinematic universe as they push Zack Snyder out. So what kind of awesome talent are they considering to bring in to replace this guy who really is very divisive among critics? It looks like they're bringing in Michael Bay, which at least he's not divisive. We all know that he sucks. This report comes from The Wrap, and their exclusives have been a little bit sketchy in the past, so we kind of want to take this one with a grain of salt, but it seems like Michael Bay is being considered by the studio to direct their Lobo movie. According to The Wrap, Bay met with DC to discuss the project and gave some notes that Wonder Woman writer Jason Fuchs will incorporate into his rewrite. The studio plans to show the rewrite to Bay and see if he can make a deal with them. That's according to their insiders. Essentially, it seems like the character of Lobo has a lot of potential to be DC's answer to Venom and Cable and Deadpool and a lot of these crazy Marvel anti-heroes that they're trying to fill that void on their side. But I just don't think that Michael Bay is the right director to bring on board to this type of project, because whenever Michael Bay is in blockbuster mode, we get something like Transformers. But whenever he's in like Oscar caliber type film, or whenever he's in Proving It type film mode, we get something like 13 Hours, which I actually enjoyed something like 13 Hours, but I'm just really afraid that we're gonna get the Transformers Michael Bay if you bring him on and give some notes. Hey, how are we gonna make this action blockbuster film better? You know, I don't think that's not why they go to Michael Bay on a blockbuster to get notes like 13 Hours. They get notes like Transformers whenever they go to Michael Bay for a project like this. Again, I would take this report with a grain of salt, but so far it's a huge no from me. And finally, we got the Venom trailer last week. The Venom trailer was a little bit weird because we didn't really get any Venom in it at all. I kind of liked the monologue and I kind of liked the dark side of things. It seems like Tom Hardy is really going to be shown off really well, but I just thought that was overall a weird way of doing a Venom trailer because the excuse is, well, we don't have the visual effects done yet. Well, if you don't have the visual effects done yet, don't release a trailer. I feel like there's no excuse for doing that. They didn't really need to release a trailer yet. We've still got like 6 months or so until the movie comes out. So I think they kind of wasted energy whenever they didn't really need to. So I'm not going to say the trailer was a complete waste of time. I liked getting that first look and I liked kind of seeing what kind of world they're creating and what kind of Eddie Brock we're going to be getting. And then we got a cool shot of Michelle Williams, a lot of cool action stunt shots that are going to be really awesome, I'm sure, when the film is complete. But again, it seemed like a little bit of wasted energy to give us a trailer for a Venom movie without much Venom. The movie still comes out in October. It was among my most anticipated movies of the year, so let me know what you guys thought of it in the comments section below. Thanks so much for checking this video out, and I'll see you in the next one.